folks, and welcome to the stream. My name is Mike D'Angelo, aka That Tellest Guy, and I am joined by my lovely co-host Rhianna, who's trying to verify that we can hear ourselves because we moved some stuff around. We shuffled some things because Rhianna is going to be doing her first map in Inkarnate today. We had talked a little bit before about her doing maps and stuff like that because we thought that it was definitely something that she was going to get into at some point, and we figured, why not do it today? And we're doing a kind of like Inkarnate for Dummies. So I'm going to be teaching her how to do...
I'm the dummy.
You're the dummy. We're gonna be teaching her how to do some of the basics and everything like that, and she'll start her way on her first map. So, Rhianna, you're going to take the mouse, and in the center of this, you're going to see battle map size template. That's just the one that I use when I'm starting all my maps. So hit the triple dots, and then you're going to do clone, and then you're going to name your map whatever you think it's going to be.
Autumn Witch Hut.
There we go. And then you'll hit OK. And it'll copy your map to the top of the list. So scroll back up. And then grab that one by saying Edit Map.
Click the dots?
Nope, just Edit Map.
Oh,
there you go.
click it. There we go.
You have to be extra careful with your dummies. Sometimes they don't read. All right, so I need you to help me to help you.
Okay.
What do you want to start with?
So, I don't know how to do it on here, but typically if I'm doing like an actual like painting or something, I'll sort of map out like where I want the key pieces to go.
So with like lines
yeah, so like where sort of like the trail that's going to be there, and then I know I want like the witch hut about here.
Yep. So I think the thing that you're going to want to sketch with, we'll say, if you scroll out or you hit the fit screen button over here in the bottom right. So you're already fit as far as you're going to be. But if you want to bring it back a little bit further, you can use the mouse wheel to scroll out, right? So you'll be able to do that. You've still got a decent amount of map that's hidden by our right.
Ah, I see.
Yep.
Okay.
Because even though you're saying fit screen, it still has the layer sidebar up.
Got it.
So you want to make sure that you are aware of those kind of things. Now over on your left sidebar, you're going to have a bunch of icons. We'll rattle off the ones that you see on the side first. So the first option is your selection tool right above that, the mask tool. Your mask tool is basically how you say where you're going to have the foreground and the background layers. Okay. So like if you're going to be working on like a lake or something like that, you might want to have the lake be the background layer, and you might want to have all the land be your foreground layer.
Similar to Photoshop.
Yeah. For your base your first map, maybe we don't deal with things that are that complicated, but we can adjust things later if we need to. Okay. The next icon is your brush tool. That is how you determine like what your terrain is going to look like. So you would be able to select from options that would make things look a certain way. Your next one after that is your stamp tool. That's where all the assets Inkarnate live, besides the terrain itself. So that would be where your tables, your trees, your treasure chests, your rocks, all those things live in the stamp tool. Okay. You also have another icon under that for text. So you don't typically put text in like a battle map that we see unless you're naming the map, right? Or if you're trying to put some details for yourself for later to be aware of. There's another tool for that you can use as well, which is the note tool, which I believe is like 3 or 4 down from there. I use that kind of sparingly, and it's usually like if I'm drawing something on the screen that I want to be aware of, but I don't necessarily want my viewers to be aware of. So like if I'm making a map and I'm worried that we're going to be using that map in one of our campaigns, but I don't want you to be able to see like what the details are behind that. You can use that tool. Between the text tool and the tool that you're using right now, there's 3 other tools: the line, the shape, and the path tool. The path tool is the third one. That's the one that's been there the longest. You usually use that on like world maps and regional maps. You use that to like designate like a trail from city to city. You can use that for borders. That's actually the tool that we're going to use for you sketching things out. Oh, okay. The line tool you would use a little bit more for like actual elements of your maps. You would use that for like the lines of a house. You could use it for like a squiggly, like kind of free form version of like mountains or cliffs or something like that. And the shape tool is kind of the same thing, but you get to kind of build things within that shape as well. So if you were going to build a hut, you could also have like a fill layer with it as well. So we're going to start you off with the fill tool. You'll also see there's a grid tool. And that is basically how you determine how big you want your grid to be, what style you want your grid to be. So you could have it be isometric, or you could have it be hexagonal.
Honeycomb.
Yep. So there's a lot of different options there. It looks like they made a fourth option, because I thought that there was only one hex, and now it looks like, oh, you know what? I think it's just the orientation of the hex. Anyway, we just use the square one. We go 20 by 40 because that's the size that fits our battle maps the best. And we try and maintain consistency. The next one under that is filters. That would be how you apply like night mode, gloom and doom, red sun, all that kind of stuff. And then that final one down at the bottom is pan and zoom, which I don't think I've ever used. I mean, if you have a mouse with a wheel, like you have everything you need.
Zoom out.
Yep. So let's head back to the path tool, that the one right above the notes. Yep.
This guy.
Yep.
Okay.
So if you want, you can change the style of your path. You'll see right now you've got kind of like a dashed line. Okay. You've also got dots, and you've got like a full line. You're going to be doing multiple paths as you're drawing. And if you want, you can draw with the mouse, but you can also use the pen for the tablet.
Okay.
So that is the black pen there.
Oh, that's on the actual screen?
Yep, so you could draw directly on the screen. This will be your first time, I think, using the tool that we bought for you.
I knew you were going to shame me.
10 years ago.
I knew it. Alright, so... okay. So... that exists.
Hot.
And then, and then... So I don't know how big. So this is.
So every one of the squares, because of the way that we're using them, they're supposed to represent a 5-foot space.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't tell you anything because you don't know what 5 feet is.
I'm bad at sizes.
So 5 feet is 8 inches shorter than this wingspan that I'm showing you right now.
Okay.
So a little smaller, like that big.
Okay.
So do you want that square there?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so the square is fine. So that square represents roughly a 30 by 40 block of land. That's going to be your pumpkin patch, I'm guessing.
So I want to do a couple of things here. I'm kind of envisioning like a Hagrid's hut kind of situation.
Okay. So
I want to have not only a pumpkin patch, but like a couple of small gardens, and then also like a creature's like hut, like chickens and
a coop.
Yeah.
Okay. So while you're deciding what you're going to be developing, let me know so that I can be a part of your process as well and help you out.
So I'm thinking hut here. We've got the pumpkin patch here. Maybe what we do is. What do you do? Oh, is that the fancy glove?
Yeah.
Do I get to wear the fancy glove?
You get to put on the fancy glove.
Ooh.
So I think you want your pinky to be covered because you're going to be using your hand against the.
To be covered.
Yep. So you.
Oh, this is weird. I like it.
Yep. So now you can drag your hand against the monitor without it like.
Very cool. Okay. All right. So I think, actually, I changed my mind. So I want the pumpkins to be down here.
Okay.
So we're going to do pumpkins there. That'll be like kind of the cattle area.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we'll do is a little... Oh, nope. Won't let me. Thank you. And do a smaller little chicken coop on the little chicken hut area.
Okay.
And then I think I want to do a little bit of like a tower over here.
Okay.
A little witchy library-esque area. Maybe a little shed back here.
You're doing a lot of internal buildings for your first map.
I know. I can't do simple. I'm a complicated creature.
You very much are.
And then I would imagine she needs a well. So, well. Well, that's way too big for a well.
It's all right. You're just
we'll
doing.
Figure it out.
Yeah, you're doing the basic structure, and then you'll figure the rest of it out. And just be careful if you're going to try and move back. You've got a Luna behind you.
Okay. And then I want this to be kind of a body of water.
Okay.
A little haphazard
So
body of
little
water.
pond.
Yep, a little body of water. And then we'll have lots of trees and stuff around. I can fill them in later.
Yeah.
Should I do do you draw the path when you do it?
So what I'll do is if I know that I'm gonna have trees or something like that, I'll use one of the other path tools. So I'll use either the dots or the dashes, because I'm trying to kind of conceptualize hey, am I gonna have a thick area of brush here, or is what exactly am I doing? You accidentally changed your body of water.
Oops.
So hit the undo button twice.
Okay.
And then start to draw your area for the. There you go. Okay. You can do that too.
Okay. So figure that'll be the entrance area, and then we've got kind of a. Oh no! Oh, that's fun. I didn't know you could move that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've got a little bit of a path there, and then this will be some road. We'll go up that way, and then also down this way.
That's going to be where your space is open between your trees.
Yep, and then a little bit here, and then the rest of it's going to be mostly tree. Maybe a little path here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your path is going to be just basically blending tools. You're going to have whatever general style you have for this area, and then you're going to be kind of covering up the rest. Now, I don't know whether or not we've got majority foreground or background, so you're going to go to your mask tool next. Your mask is the second one that looks like a shovel.
This guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So do a subtract.
Huh? Subtract.
Yep.
Okay.
And then change the style from the star to the circle.
Circle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then just do a little bit of a drawing in the pond area. I want to see if we're actually going to be removing things, or if it's going to need to change to the other way. So I don't think we're removing anything.
Okay.
So what you're going to do instead is switch to add. And then my suggestion is going to be just increase the brush size. So you can either drag it like that, or you can do shift and scroll up and down. So if you hold shift in and you scroll down with your mouse wheel, you'll see that the wheel gets bigger or smaller. And the other option that you can do is W and S. W makes it bigger, S makes it smaller.
I'm not going to remember that.
Right.
But I appreciate you.
I'm not just saying it for you, I'm saying it for everybody else as well.
For all the dummies out there trying to learn.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So just drag that all over the map. We're going to fill it up entirely. Okay. Technically, there's another way that you could do it where you just use the...
Whoa.
You just use the square. Yeah, absolutely. Oh. We're just adding the base texture that we have for the foreground for this map is just grass.
Okay.
So you might not use that style, but we're adding the foreground layer, and then what we're going to do after that is subtract to make that body of water.
I see. Oh god. This is slower than you would probably do it, but
you're being deliberate. Okay. So go to your subtract now.
Okay.
And then because you are going to be doing things a little bit more precise, you're going to zoom in a little bit.
Okay.
So just mouse wheel up, probably the easiest way. And then if you hold the space bar, and then you can click and drag with the mouse to center that better.
Ooh.
So you can keep zooming in further if you need more detail, a higher detailed level.
No, wait, that's this thing.
Yep, just a regular mouse wheel up and down will help to move those things around. Yep, so as you do that, you're going to see it drop back to the previous style, which was just, dirt.
Right, okay. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. So you'll kind of trace the style of your pond.
It doesn't need to be in the lines.
No, because you're going to be adjusting this yourself.
Yeah. Cool. Ah! What'd you do that for?
So the mask tools, they have kind of their own style.
AI kind of thing.
It's not AI. It's what's built in. So the mask, you'll see where it shows you the enable mask effects. If you check that, it'll get rid of the ripple. It'll get rid of the outline, that kind of stuff. Typically, if you're going to be using some kind of body of water. That kind of makes it look nicer, right? You've got the ripples and everything like that. You can also go into that little 3 lines next to where it says Enable Mask Effects. And in there, you can choose things a little bit more specifically. So you could change the color of the stroke. You could change whether or not there's going to be ripples if there's going to be shadows, that kind of stuff.
Change the opacity.
Yeah, there's a lot that you can change there. Now, you don't need to do anything like that, but you can.
Okay.
At this point, what we're going to have you do is go into the selection tool, which is that arrow. And we're going to have you select the line. So that squiggle that you have isn't really necessary now that you have the pond drawn.
Okay.
So now you can just hit delete. So there you go. So there's your pond. So let's fill it up with water. We'll have that be the first thing that we do.
Okay.
So you're going to go into the brush layer. And you're going to go into, you've already got it on background, and that's good because that's what we want. So you're going to go into the texture selection. So you can go into open catalog, or you can click on the dirt that you have there in that sidebar. Now I have this zoomed in for you. If you want, you can look a little bit differently. You can, shrink it down. You can also, if you click this hamburger menu up in the top right, you can say whether or not you want the names to show up underneath the textures. So it gives you a little bit more context. So now it'll show all that. What you could do is you could look through and see the kind of water that you want, or in the search bar up at the top, you could type in water and you could see if there was something specific that would work for you. So here's all the different water effects that you have.
Ooh.
And you have more if you scroll down.
Okay. Fey water, also water. Oh, and they separate it into Jungle's Village. Well, that's intuitive.
Yep, they separate it by the packs. So, like, if you're going to be working in the jungle, maybe this water works better for whatever jungle stuff you're working on.
Got it. I like both of these. Can I, mix and match?
Yeah. I think probably what you'd want to start with is maybe, the base level, which is...
Just shallow water?
Yeah, shallow water with or without the lily pads. Okay. And then right now you're probably going to be working on the highest stamp scale. Well, the default stamp scale, which is going to be 100. For the 20 by 40 that we usually work with, I find that 30 works really well. So if you go into where it says advanced settings, down at the very bottom,
got it.
It's going to show you two things: placement and color tabs. The texture scale is the one that you want to manipulate. So you can go into there and you can change it to 30, or you can scroll it up and down with the bar. No, that's okay. It's just showing you.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's giving you a preview of what it would look like on the screen at that size.
Got it.
If you were working with things like tiles or wood slats, you can also mess with things like the rotation or the offset. So if you knew that you wanted your building to have tiles that started at the doorway and not halfway, either direction, you could mess with those too. For natural elements, you're probably not going to do things like that. You
just want it straight up and down, basically.
Yep. It wouldn't really matter too much. You're not going to see things too crazy. Now, you can draw all the way to the edge because it's not going to go into the foreground.
It's not?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
If you were going to change that with mask effects, it would then add what you've created there.
Got it.
But because you're not changing the pond, as far as we know, you don't have to worry about that right now.
No, does this have if I go over the same spot again? No, it'll stick with the 30.
If you were doing opacity, if you had it set at a 50% opacity, it would change that blend as you went.
Got it.
So maybe we'll explore that a little bit as we go into that next piece.
Yeah.
So go into the catalog again. And it's still going to have the search that you had before.
Okay.
So you don't have to do anything there. And then here what we'll do is we'll change the texture scale to 30. And you're going to change the opacity, which is that little teardrop, ink drop looking thing.
Got it.
So I would change it to anywhere between 30 and 50%.
Let's do 40.
Okay. So you might want to change the size of the brush a little bit too. And then if you start drawing with either the mouse or the pen, you should be able to see some changes being made.
Oh, no, I have the eraser on. Whoops. For Dummies. Wait, is it coming up? Oh, yes, okay.
Yep. Now, if you let go and you do it again, it'll come up even more.
Oh, because of the opacity.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, the way that Inkarnate works is if you keep the pen or mouse clicked or pressed, it's going to not do an extra layer of that opacity. It's going to keep it as, all right, the person still has it running off that first pass. So anytime you want to add a little bit more, maybe you would just take your finger off the mouse, tap it again, or if you're doing this with a stylus, just bring it up off the screen, put it back on.
Got it.
Small strokes.
I like it. This is fun. I see why you like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like coloring.
It's like coloring in a way that even I can do it. So we're calling you a dummy, but not when it comes to doing art. Like, your art is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
The technical side of things is where you struggle.
Uh-huh. And just for the audience, it's only funny that he calls me dumb because I'm not.
Right.
If I was dumb and he was calling me dumb, it'd be mean.
Yeah. But she's dumb. The end.
He says in all seriousness.
Rhianna is very book smart.
Shut up. Alright, that's pretty.
Okay. So let's do a save. You've got 62 changes, and I feel like anything over like 50 changes is a decent amount. So in the bottom left, you're going to see the old floppy disk.
Oh, obsolete.
Obsolete. Nobody knows what a floppy disk actually is anymore. So we'll let that save. It'll take a few moments. That's a lie. A moment is actually a minute and a half. Nobody waits a moment for anything. So you can scroll back out. You can see your map a little bit.
Hooray.
Woo!
Woo!
So let's do...
the space bar and then drag? Okay,
yep.
Got it.
Or you could fit screen and it'll bring it back to as far as it can go. Let's do the other terrain first before we start working on buildings and stuff, because once we get into buildings, it gets a little bit complicated.
Okay.
So do you want to actually do terrain, or do you want to try and work a little bit on like the forest? We'll play with stamps a little bit first.
I want to play with the forest and stamps.
Okay. So you're gonna hit.
Actually, can I play with like the grassy texture?
Yeah, that's
okay. still forest
texture and brushes and stuff like that. So go ahead and type in forest or trees or anything like that, and we'll see what comes up when you search.
Sure. Trees.
Yeah, the problem is my computer stinks.
Tree. Oh, no.
Try forest.
Oh, no, wrong.
The funny thing is the trees that you got would have worked with the water type.
That's true. Let's see.
So the trees that you're going to be working with, you're most likely going to use things like this forest floor that you have in the forest set.
Right.
The problem is you don't really know like where your trees are going to be to make something like that yet.
Right.
So scroll back up to the top. That's the bottom.
No, I know that. I was thinking maybe grass is because it's not so much the it's more the tone that I want to change.
Do you want your ground to be patchy, or do you want it to be kind of full and lush?
I want it to be golden. Like, I'm trying to go for autumn, so like kind of like that dry gold color.
But again, do you want it to be a full kind of property, like, or do you want it to look like our yard looks because the dog pee kills all the grass?
Pretty much that, but like more of a golden hue. Like the grass has already died, basically.
So here's what I would suggest.
Okay.
The problem is, go ahead and go to the top again, and we're going to use that grass that we already have.
Okay.
So this is just to demonstrate for everybody else what things are going to look like. So if you go to the advanced settings down at the bottom and you see color instead of placement, in there you're able to mess with the hue. So you'd be able to use the same texture, but you'd be able to change certain qualities of it.
Excellent.
So you got your hue, your saturation, your brightness, and your contrast.
Okay.
The ones that you'll probably be messing with the most are the first three. The contrast is just if you're changing the others enough. But the one thing that you're going to notice is when you're changing the grass to look whatever specific way you're going to make it, the kind of brownish texture that you have behind there, it's likely going to change as well.
Okay.
So go ahead and slide the hue either way to see like the way that the color changes, and you'll see certain things are going to change there.
Okay.
So let's try and find that nice like golden yellow for the grass that you're looking for. I think more to the left.
I think right about there.
Yeah. So in theory, that's not so bad that like the ground
looks
crappy. What I would suggest is if you did need to do something there, if you're drawing, try and like use a blend technique so that you just go over the grass, leaving the ground as it is. It's a lot of work, but it gives you whatever opportunities to kind of play with that as needed.
Okay.
So you can slide your mouse onto the screen again, and you'll see it cuts back to that.
Okay.
So let's have you start to draw that in there. And there's one thing that you didn't do, but I want to see if you notice it. If you want, you can just start drawing. So nothing's changing, right?
No, wait, what did I do? Hang on.
And I didn't tell you this.
Oh.
So try drawing over top of your lake.
Oh, it's still selected on the lake.
It's still selected on the background layer.
On the background layer.
Right. So if you want to draw at your foreground, you need to make sure that you go to your foreground. There's two ways that you can do that. There's actually right at the top of your bar, it says BGFG. So you can draw on the FG layer. Or if you scroll up on the brush sidebar, there will be an option there as well. So over here on the left, just scroll up all the way with the mouse wheel. And you'll see background, foreground there.
Okay.
There's also a top layer, which Inkarnate added within the last year. And top layer basically exists outside of background and foreground.
Okay.
And it lets you do things like if you have a rock that's a stamp, it'll let you draw directly on the stamp instead of having to worry about like flattening the rock to the background. The only problem with the drawing on top is like if you're going to do a filter or something like that, the top layer usually doesn't show up the right way. You know, you're losing something there because like if you're doing a night filter, that brush stroke that you're doing with the top layer will not show up inside the filter.
Right.
So yeah, you can zoom it in and you can go all the way across this if you want.
Because this is the foreground, right?
Mm-hmm.
So top layer.
And your opacity is still at 49 too.
I moved it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's 49.
Okay.
And obviously you can go across this as many times as you want. So
no, that's not going to go over this, or will
nope.
it? No?
So if you changed it so that the pond was foreground again, like if you use the mask tool to change it and add in foreground, the blend that you're doing now would show up instead of the pond.
Got it. Well, I like this little blend here, like golden.
Yep, it's nice.
Stuff mixed in.
And you don't lose the original green either.
Right. Yeah, I like a little bit of that pepper in here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm happy with this.
There you go.
Looks cool.
All right, let's go to our stamps because this will be the first time that you're messing with stamps.
Yay!
And let's do the well first. So go into.
Well.
Oh God. So easiest way to find the well, just search for it. Okay, and there's your well opportunities that you can use. Probably the classic.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can throw that down. So
is that the right size?
So it depends on what size you're looking for. So like I had mentioned earlier, the size that kind of works for us for the 20 by 40 maps that we're using, the stamp size and brush size that we usually kind of refer to as the 30. Right now, if you were to drop that down, that well is like 10 feet by 10 feet, which is pretty big for a well.
That's pretty big.
Yep. Yep, so if you hit the S key or if you shift and hold, those are different ways to do it. S is a little bit more precise. Okay. So like every time you hit S, it drops one space. Okay. So
and then what was the other one? F?
W will make it bigger.
Okay. I kind of like the idea of it being kind of big.
Yeah,
like
so zoom in so you can see. You can see a little bit better. So when you're saying kind of big, what size are you thinking?
Enough to hide bodies comfortably.
So you don't have to squish them, you just drop them right down.
Yeah.
So you're looking at probably around a 6 foot well. So right now your well diameter is more than 5 feet. So that's not so bad.
All right.
So you can also, there's different ways that you can kind of put your stamps in place. You've got the freeform method that you just did, and they recently added like options to snap to grid. So if you hit this snap to grid button at the bottom, it'll let you, if you click and move your well now, it'll keep it like in the middle of the grid or on the sides. It'll be a little bit more precise. Now, you don't necessarily need it to be that way, but if you wanted to be a little bit more specific, you can. Freeform helps in a lot of different ways. We're also going to hit the button next to Snap to Grid for you.
Show grid?
Mm-hmm. So now you have your map looking, natural without a grid to define it.
Okay.
So you can throw that back on. I use that, more often than not because I like to make sure that the sizes of things are accurate. When Matt's making a map, he prefers not to have it because he feels like the grid kind of impedes the way that he's seeing those kind of things. I have a feeling that you're going to eventually like that as well.
Okay.
But I think that you're going to run into the same problem that a couple of our collaborators have, where you're not thinking of the size of things, and you're going to have
too many big things.
A toilet that's 20 feet wide.
Yeah. Very possible. How do I get rid of the circle now?
So if you click the select tool, which is the arrow in the top left, and you hover over your circle.
Oh.
Nope, you deleted your path.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So click there, and then if you click and drag it away, you can verify that it's that.
Okay.
And then...
Cool. All right.
And then don't forget, you can hit snap to grid so that you're not, behooven to...
Beethoven?
Yeah, Beethoven.
Okay. And then...
You want to do some trees?
Yeah.
Okay, so go into your stamp tool one more time. And then go into open catalog or click on the well. Okay, and then you can type in tree, or you can X out of that and just see what the thing has to offer.
Well, let's see. Got cherry blossom don't make sense. That's an elven home. Oh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. Now I think that there are some autumn trees. You can see in the forest set there's those orangey looking trees beneath you.
Trees, forest. We got. Oh yeah, I like this guy.
Yep, and you can do the same thing with the stamps as you did with the textures, and you can have it so it displays the names.
Got it.
So the one thing that I will say is the tree stamps in Inkarnate feel a little bit undersized, and I will typically bring them up beyond the 30 that I have them at.
Okay.
So don't forget, you're still snapped to the grid, so if you don't want to be locked to that kind of size, you can uncheck that box at the bottom.
Okay. I'm good with it.
Okay.
So does this make sense for tree size, or should it be even bigger?
I feel like 100 is a good size, so anything, within reason above and below that is fine.
Where's 100?
So
where do you see that?
If you look at the stamp scale over there, you're at 180 right now, and that's perfectly fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Right. Wow, pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then... Oh, tee. Oh, it changes.
Yeah. So the way that you have your stamp set right now is you've got your stamp set has a group of 3 different stamps.
Okay.
And you have it set to randomize, and you
Nice.
also have the angle set to randomize.
Okay.
So every time you're getting a new stamp, the system is automatically saying, all right, we're going to randomly pick between 1 and 3, and then from there we're going to randomly select between 1 and 360 degrees.
Okay.
So even though these stamps all look very similar, it feels dimmer. It feels different when you're actually messing with the details.
Okay.
So you could have the exact 3 trees, but because of the angle and things, it'll look a little bit nicer.
This is very cool. This is super fun.
Yeah, you watch, but don't really get the full effect.
I don't get the full effect. Very cool. Okay. Oh god. No, that's too big.
So there's a fun thing about trees that we don't really care about too much when we're messing with these maps. Mm-hmm. Typically, if you're looking in a forest, a lot of times the canopy of a tree will not impede the progress of another tree beneath it. And the reason for that is the tree beneath it realizes I have to grow outside of the the direction that this other tree is growing. Otherwise, I'm not going to get the light that I need. Now, we don't care about it when we're making our maps because we're trying to
create a contained area.
Yeah, we want to create like a canopy that feels like it's overlapping and things like that. You know, we're a cartoony kind of map like this doesn't have the elements of real life where you'd see those branches separating enough to make almost like a jigsaw puzzle.
Right. Cool. I like it.
There you go. All right, so are we ready to start working on some buildings?
I think so.
Okay, so we're going to mess with our next tool, which is going to be the shape tool. So it's 3 down from there. There you go.
This guy?
That one right there.
Okay.
So which building do you want to start with?
Oh, I guess the hut.
Okay, so we'll start with the hut, and then that building, that thing next to it, that's
a tower.
Well, the thing that's directly adjacent to it, that you got the little square guy.
A greenhouse, or like a little shed or something.
So, and that directly connects, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is...
Or actually, you know what? This should be like a fireplace with a chimney coming out. So we have a chimney.
Okay, you could do that. So what we're going to do is, right now, you could, in theory, free-form the shape. So we're going to have you pick up the pen one more time. It's on your left.
Ah.
And just draw on the screen. Oh, you know what? Real quick, I think it probably behooves us to select which kind of line we're going to be drawing.
Okay.
So if you click that, as the baseline, it chooses a cliff, but you can choose whatever other thing.
Oh, wow. Okay. So am I looking for, like...
It would be kind of like the wall structure. So, like, if you were looking for a wooden hut, you would type in wood.
I kind of want stone.
You can do stone. So you've got the ones down there. You've got kind of like a concrete look. You've got the desert pack. The core has this kind of like stone ruined wall, which you probably don't want to use. Stone wall probably works for what you want to do.
Not the desert.
You might find some good stuff in temple.
Dwarven. I kind of like this.
You can try it.
Farm wall. There we go.
So it'll kind of have that like wooden, almost like a Tudor look.
Right.
So we're going to have you draw just freehand just to see what it looks like.
Should I zoom in?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
So we're not going to commit to this, but I just want you to see what it looks like.
Oh. Oh, you fancy.
Mm-hmm. So hit that little plus button, and what it'll do is add whatever you have in there. So that's the size of your wall right now. So a little bit bigger than what we want it to look like, and that's because the stroke stamp scale is set to 100. So you don't have to take it away or anything. You can actually go to that stamp scale and change it to 30, and it'll change accordingly.
Oh, okay.
So it changes the way that it looks. You probably don't want a free-form look like this. You know, like you want something that looks...
I kind of do.
If you do.
I kind of do. I think that's fun.
Sounds good.
Because I feel like in my mind, if it's a witch hut, she probably put it together with magic, and it's not a perfect circle.
Could be. So what you might also want to do is already have the fill determined for you.
Okay.
So if you hit that little fill button that's above the recently used and below the stroke stamp scale.
Who's fill? Here we go.
Yep.
Okay.
So that will fill that area inside the hut with whatever you want. Okay. So if you wanted to put dirt in there, you could click that the texture button that you're hovering over, and it'll choose a texture for you based on the other textures that exist in the system.
Okay. So if I wanted to do wood.
Like a wood floor.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you can select any of that kind of stuff. You're going to want to change the texture scale as well to reflect the size that we like.
I kind of like the, what was it? Farmstead. Let's see if it has anything there. No. Oh, there's my crops.
There's my crops.
Alright, let's do, oh, it is stone. Let's try a stone floor. Let's do something like, well, this is the fun part. You're just picking out fun colors and stuff.
Mm-hmm. You're wallpapering your floor.
I like it. I don't even think it's going to be seen, but that's okay. I'm going to go with this one.
Okay.
I like it. Ooh.
So as I said, it's kind of big right now, but what you would do is for where it says fill texture scale, you'll change that from 100 to 30.
Does it have to be 30?
No. Just 30 is a nice number that I like to play with.
Right. I think I want to do 50 because I like the big look.
There we go.
Right.
Okay. So the next thing that you're going to want to do, if you want that like square area to be reflective of a connective tissue for this.
Square area.
Yes. So do you want that to be kind of freeform as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're going to do is, you see how the merge stamps button is checked up at the top?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to keep that checked. If
Okay.
you weren't going to keep that checked, it would be like a separate piece. So what you're going to do is draw over top of the top of that circle a full square.
Up here?
Mm-hmm. Well, you're bringing it with you right now.
Ruined.
So here, let me grab that for you real quick.
Okay.
So just to show this is the shape that you would be working with.
Okay.
So we're just going to click out of there, and we'll start you fresh.
Okay.
So go ahead and draw like a square that's going to overlap into that area.
Okay. And then do I connect down here too?
Okay, and then if you hit the plus button, there you go.
Wow.
So it connects things.
All right.
Now I want to real quick check and see. Yeah, so we don't have any of the wall that was there.
Very cool.
You'll see we, this is all one area. Kind of looks like an old school bomb or a really fat Cossack.
What's a Cossack?
You know, the Russian guys who do the dance. Doesn't that kind of look like?
I like it.
He's got the fuzzy hat.
You know what? You're right. I think I want to add another little thing.
Okay.
Can I add another little
Yep.
thing?
Yep. Go back into the shape tool.
Where's it at? Here you go. Shape tool. Okay. I realized even though it's a 1-bedroom, it should have a little bedroom cove. Just for.
Okay, and then hit that little plus button. Use the pen. Okay. And then click out of that. Make sure that it looks like it overlaps.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
So what do I do?
So let's hit the undo, and then you're going to draw one more time, but you're going to make sure that you overlap the wall, because that'll take the wall away for you. Okay, and then hit the plus button again. There you go. So you can see it took away the wall.
I like it.
Yep. So go ahead and select out of there again. Okay, and then what you can do is you can get rid of your original kind of sketch drawings.
Nope, that's the house.
Yep. So just hit
this guy.
Yep, and then delete. Okay. And then same thing with the sort of annex there on the top.
Oh, okay. Nope. Wait a minute. I got it.
There you go.
All right.
So let's do another save. 43 is a decent amount, and you've changed a decent amount of stuff. So we're going to, we kind of were using this video as kind of like a demonstration of sorts. So I'm trying not to go over so many of the things again.
Right.
We're going to give you, opportunities to play with this map yourself later. But what I do want to do is kind of hit some of the things that we might not have already before we start working on other buildings and things. So you'll notice right now, your house doesn't have a door. So you can't just put a door on top of the wall. It won't do anything with the wall. So what we're going to do is go into the shape and add what's called a portal. So click on your item, your building, and then in the top, is it not there? Hit right mouse button on it. We should see the option show up. So you see this little golden hamburger up here in the top right. If you click that, you should have an option to do. It's not giving me that option. I wonder if we have more than one thing. I'm looking for a edit nodes. Let me see if I can grab that real quick. Let's go into the shape tool maybe. Why won't you let me edit you? Here we go. So down here you'll see portals.
Okay.
And I think because we had this selected most recently, now you'll see this little area come up. We have a little bit of like an oddity down here because of the way that it was connected. But where would you want your door to be?
Here?
Over here?
Yeah.
So you'll see right now it's still giving you like this kind of like...
Snap to grid.
Yeah. So if you wanted to, you could make it more precise. And you'll see it slides a little bit better.
Very cool.
Why don't you want it there?
Yeah.
So if we select there, it opens up that spot, but you don't lose the context of the building.
Very
so you still see, it has the shape, it has the wall type, it has the texture on the bottom. And now what we can do is if we go into the stamps, go ahead and pick your door. So type in door.
Neat.
Yep, so you can pick whatever door best suits this little hovel.
Okay. Let's see. This is going to be the part that I spend like...
Oh yeah, it's like building a house on Sims for you.
I know, I love it. We're going to go with the fairy.
There you go.
One. Too big.
So you knew it was going to be too big.
And then how does one...
Rotate?
Yeah.
So you can rotate by, like, I think 10 degrees at a time by using the little arrows down here next to the shift key.
Oh, okay.
And then if you need to, you can zoom in even further, I think.
Like that?
Well, I was saying, like, physically zoom into the map itself so that you can be more precise.
Got it.
And then if you need to, you can change the angle even more by going up into that little swizzle over there. But you can also, once you drop it down, you'll see a circle around your stamp, and you can use that to fine-tune it even more.
Got it.
So if you hold over the gold, if you do the squares at the end of the rectangle, that changes the size. So you want to make sure you're not grabbing at those corners if you're trying to mess with the size.
Okay. Does that look right?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So pull back out. Let's look at your map one more time. Keep going. I want to see it all. Pretty good for your first 45 minutes, don't you think?
Hooray! I like it.
So we're going to hit save one more time, and then we're going to close out the show. Pretty darn good if I do say so myself.
I think we deserve a chalky milk for that, sir.
There you go. Did you have fun?
Yeah, this is really fun.
There we go.
It's not as scary as I thought it would be.
Yep.
I thought, so I don't enjoy the technical side of Photoshop and stuff, but this seems really intuitive. Just as long as I remember to do this, I say it's easy because you're sitting here guiding me on it. But
that was the plan of today. I have no qualms with making a fool of myself. Mm-hmm. So I don't have a problem with going in and doing things like this live for people.
Right. Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
So can I ask with when you do the maps, because this is my method when I do The Sims and stuff like that. I'll go through the catalog and just dump everything that I want to do, and then I'll arrange it and resize it and stuff.
So at this point, I don't do that as much, but early on when I was doing maps, and especially when I was doing sequel maps, I would take pieces from my first map and I would bring them into the second map because I wanted to make sure that I was maintaining consistency.
Right.
So I would say all right, I'm going to take all these kind of trees to make sure that I'm using the same kind of trees again. Right. I'm making sure that they're the consistent sizes, consistent colors, things like that. But yeah, you can definitely play with it. Now this computer might be a little bit rougher with it, but we do have the computer downstairs for you to play with.
Yeah,
so I'll sign in there for you so that if there are times when I'm doing something and you want to play with a map instead, you'll have that opportunity.
Hooray!
All right, so let's cut over to our show closing screen. So folks, on the screen right now, you should see all the places that you can find Tellest out there on the internet. Tellest.com is a great first place to start because it'll usually bring you to our other projects. We have one that's going on right now, 4 maps that we build in Inkarnate. We have 60 maps for our Volume 2 set that we're funding right now. We are $30 away from another 4 maps. Technically, you're going to get an extra 5 because we're working on the stretch goal map that you get for free as well. We've got a couple of premium sites that you can find our map stuff at. Patreon.com/Tellest is a place where you can get our maps in a way that soon they're going to be commercially available to you. So you'll be able to use our maps in adventure modules. You'll be able to use some of the custom stamps that we're developing to help you tell your stories and bring your stories to life in dynamic new ways. We also have our maps available on Etsy at tellest.etsy.com. Those are physical versions of our maps. We do these maps in a 20 by 40 style because we drop them onto beautiful neoprene mats that are 18 by 36 inches. They look great on a computer desk, so even after you're done your adventure, you always have that to remember, and it a very nice feel. So go and check us out on there. We also have, if you want kind of an a la carte version of getting our maps, you can find them in digital on battlemapfantasy.com, which will just bring you over to our publisher page on DriveThruRPG. We have 2 TikTok channels that you should check out. At Weird Witch Wands is where Rhianna's magic wands can be found. She does one-of-a-kind handcrafted magic wands that are beautiful, but you're not going to be able to get them after this weekend because she's going to sell all of them at Witchtober Market. We also have at Tales of Tellest, which is our doggies TikTok channel. Luna
is the most famous.
Steals the show every time. And then there's 2 other places that you should check us out. YouTube.com/@WorldOfTellest is where you can find the repository of all of these videos. But if you do want to catch us live, the only place to do that is twitch.tv/thattellestguy. So we definitely appreciate you dropping by or seeing this video later. Hopefully you saw this as an opportunity to take a dive into something that might be a little scary the same way that Rhianna did, and that you had a good time. And we appreciate you dropping by, and
we'll miss you.